about that, how, I think, Richard and Lisa, when you think about time, can you believe you've been married 30 years to the same, to that person? So time moves so very, very quickly, and even as I spoke here about, we move on. And I think for particularly younger people, it seems like time goes so very, very slowly. For us who are not so young, it moves very quickly. And this is already April, so the fourth of the year is already over. And then the other thing is about love thinketh no evil. And as we think about those things, it's, I don't want to talk about, the gray matter and nerve synapses in your gray matter and all those things, but how do we think, and so we can think things that are probably not the best. But one thing about love, it thinketh no evil. And I have to go back to historically. I always wanted to be a history teacher. So you go back to Copernicus, who was a 16th century Polish astronomer and mathematician. And what did he say? He said that the Earth is not the center of the universe. And everybody thought that the Earth was the center of the universe because the sun would pass over. And he said, no, it's the sun is the center of the universe. And he was ridiculed by that, and so they had to redo their thinking. And Richard, at least I think in your marriage, we need to think we're not the center of the marriage. It's the Lord and then the other spouse. If we keep thinking about, if we become very egocentric and those various things, it doesn't work very well. And you can be thankful to the Lord that you have a spouse who loves you, and after 30 years, I don't know, someone said, before you go to bed every night, and this is what I like to practice, you need to say 3 things. I love you, I'm sorry, and you were right. No, that's not what it is. I love you, I'm sorry, and please forgive me. That's what it is. So if you say those 3 things when you go to bed at night, it is very, very helpful. So again, about Copernicus, he rethought the whole thing about the sun. He had this heliocentric theory. The sun is the center of the universe. The S-U-N is the center of our ecosystem, but the S-O-N, Jesus Christ, is the center of our marriage. And if you can remember that. And Richard and Lisa, I don't know if you remember much what they said at your wedding 30 years ago. You remember anything? Not much. Okay. Well, I don't know how much you're going to remember in 30 years from now or 30 seconds from now, but we need to start thinking. And then just one more comment. This whole cascade about how we think. You sow a thought, you reap an action. You sow an action, you reach a habit. You sow a habit, you reach a character, and you sow a character, you reach a destiny. All right? It's a whole cascade of how things are. I'll just say it again so remember. Start with the T. You sow a thought, like how we think. You reap an action. You sow an action, you reap a habit. You sow a habit, you reach a character. You sow a character, you come to a destiny. So we have some vows here that I want to share with you, and I'll just read these here. Okay, we have your responses in capital highlighted words here, Richard, so I don't know if you need a prompt, but if you do, I can tell you that. Okay. Lisa and Richard, we have come here freely and without reservation to give yourselves to each other in marriage.
We do.
Will you honor each other as man and wife for the rest of your lives?
We do.
Do you accept your children lovingly from God and promise to teach them the laws of Christ and His church?
We do.
Since it is your intention to enter into marriage, join your right hands. And declare your consent before God and His church. We do.
We do.
We do.
I'm out of practice.
Richard, do you take Lisa to be your wife? Do you promise to be true to her in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health, to love her and to honor her all the days of your life?
I do.
Lisa, do you take Richard to be your husband? Do you promise to be true to him in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health, to love him and to honor him all the days of your life?
I do.
Now you will feel joy for each of you will be a sanctuary to each other. Now there is a friendship for you. Each of you will be a companion to each other. Now you will feel love. Each of you will be warmth to each other. For love protects, love trusts. Love hopes and love preserves. For both of you, there is only one life in front of you. Go now and continue in the ways togetherness. May you be blessed with many grandchildren. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, I bless you as husband and wife. You can kiss your bride.
Martin Ross, ladies.
I'd like to propose a toast. We have some champagne that the attendants will bring out.
Looking for the champagne?
One day more, another day, another destiny. This never-ending road to Calvary. These men who seem to know my crime will come again a second time, one day more.
I did not live until today. How can I live when we are parted?
One day more,
Tomorrow you'll be worlds away. And yet with you my world has started. One more day and on my own. Will we ever meet again? One more day with him not caring. I was born to be with you. What a life I might have known. And I swear I will be true. But he never saw me there.
the time is now.
The day is here.
One day more.
Do I follow where he goes? How can I live when we are parted?
One day more.
Tomorrow you'll be worlds away. And yet with you my world has started.
Tomorrow we'll discover what our God in heaven has in store. One more dawn, one more day, one day more. We're so excited to be here and to be a part of this event. Thank you so much for having us here today. We are from Prima Arts in Lancaster, and you know, we wanted to come and since you guys are married in the 80s, right? Okay, so 30 years, we thought we would do some songs from the 80s. So that was set in the 80s. That was actually set in the 1780s. That song. So you know, we can work with that, right? Okay. So, and 3 is a good number, so we have 2 more songs that we want to do for you, and for all of you. And this is a gift from them to all of you. Anyway, so that's.
We know that you both are avid Broadway fans, so our next song is from the Phantom of the Opera. All I ask.
In the 1880s.
1880.
No more talk of darkness, for to me the light is clear as I'm in here. No one can harm my words will warm and calm you.
All I want is freedom, a world with no more night, and you always beside me to hold must share your very special day. We have one more song for you, and now this one's from the 1980s. And just to do a quick plug for Prima, Prima's next show, we're based out of Lancaster City, downtown Lancaster. We're a rather new theater company. Our next show is all about the 80s. It's called Back to the 80s, and it is on June 9th and 16th. So 2 different Sundays in June. And if you want information on it, we're going to leave behind a couple postcards that are entitled Back to the 80s. This show is actually going to be at the Chameleon Club in downtown Lancaster, the venue where there's many famous rock concerts that have been there in the past years. So it's a new place for Prima and a very fun 80s show. You'll probably hear just about every 80s song you could ever think
I
of.
think there's about 80 songs in the 80s.
Probably. There's tons
Material.
of material.
Yeah.
Yes. So our next song we will now leave you with is Almost Paradise from the 80s and also from the Broadway musical Footloose.
I thought that dreams belonged to other men, but each time I got close, they'd fall apart again.
Feared my heart would beat instantly. I faced the nights alone.
Oh, how could I have known that all my life I only needed you?
Oh, almost paradise. We're knocking on heaven's door. Almost paradise.
How could we ask for more? I swear that I could see forever in your eyes.
Paradise.
And in your arms, salvation's not so far away.
It's getting closer, closer every day. Almost paradise. We're knocking on heaven's door.